Okay, I'll just wait for the rest of you to switch on your cameras. Okay, core, payee. Hey, Elia.
Hi, teacher.
And Anthony, is your microphone working today?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, and what about your camera? Feels like a long time since I saw you on camera last, Anthony. Okay, hey Pei, hey Wenyan, hey Core. Okay, everyone. Right, so how is everybody today? If you could just switch on your microphone and say, fine, I'm good, or I'm sad, or I'm angry, or I'm frustrated. Okay, so everyone just switch on your microphone, tell me how you are. Okay, then let's do it one by one then. Jeff, how are you feeling today?
I'm fine.
Good. And Chanel, how are you today? Oh, your microphone is so quiet.
Quite good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but you still sound so quiet for some reason.
Okay.
I don't, is it me? I mean, I heard Jeff okay, and usually it's Jeff I can never hear.
Or maybe I put out my microphone.
Okay, yeah, I can hear you much better now.
Okay, sure.
Anthony, how are you doing today?
My thing is quite good.
Great. Anything in particular that's making you feel good today?
Maybe I sleep enough today.
Great. I really envy you because here it's just 8 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday morning. So I definitely envy you having had a good sleep. Because you know how if you ever decide to become a parent, you will learn how to value sleep because you don't sleep often when you become a parent. Okay, hey Lai, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, teacher.
Great, excellent. And you still have your lovely background. Makes it look like you're really rich. Okay, Pei, how are you today?
I'm fine.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Wan Yun.
Yes, teacher.
And how are you today, Wan Yun?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. And all your sisters? I think there are just 2, right?
Yes.
Will we see them dancing in the background today? We may see them dancing in the background. It's very cute. Okay. And hey, Core, how are you doing today?
I'm fine today.
Did you do something different with your hair, Core? It looks like you've had a little bit of a haircut.
Just had a haircut, yes.
Are you a little bit shy to move the camera down then?
I'm okay if you want. Okay.
Good, nice haircut.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Elia, how are you doing today?
Hi, teacher. I'm good.
I mean, I would never know if you'd had a haircut or not, but okay. Thank you very much, Elia. Okay, Nicholas, is your microphone working today? No, but you can tell us all in the chat how you are. Are you good today? Okay, so bored. So you would have to say the word bored. So today you feel bored. Well, I hope that the class can help you to feel a bit less bored. At least I hope so. And Angela, I see that you're here, but I don't see your camera on. Oh, now I've lost Angela. Oh, there is Angela. Angela, how are you today?
I'm good.
Great. And is your camera working? Because all I see is like darkness.
Maybe got a little bit hang. Wi-Fi.
Oh, sorry, a little bit, what, sorry?
The Wi-Fi not good.
Ah, right, okay, but at least we can hear you, okay? And I think that's the most important thing, that we can hear you and that you can talk, practice speaking in the class. Okay, everyone. So I think I got everybody. Definitely feels like I got everybody there. So I'm going to show you what it is we're doing today. Oh. Okay, so welcome to another week, and you'll be happy to know that I can give you the extra time today. So my idea is to give you an extra hour today, but please let me know if you can't stay for an hour. And if there are too many of you who can't stay for an hour, we can consider like shortening the time, but I can give you some extra time today if you are all available to do that. Okay, so I have one person so far who can't stay for the hour, but if everybody else can let me know. Okay, so today's class is going to be a lot of, it will be looking at writing together, example writing, and you'll be looking at readings together as well and completing exercises. So it's a little bit of a quieter class today, you know, just to change things up. But of course, we will be speaking as well, like discussing the answers, asking you to give extended answers. So there definitely will be speaking as well. Okay, so in the last class, we couldn't get through everything that we wanted to get through. So I gave you exercise 5 as homework. So it was exercise 5 and I asked you to write a report, but exercise 5 itself was to look at the language for making suggestions. So could you please let me know, and I'll just get the page number as well. So that was page 105. So I'll just page. So can you please let me know in the chat if you have done the homework, if you've done exercise 5. If you haven't done exercise 5, that's okay. I can give you some time to complete this in the class. So in the chat, just tell me if you did exercise 5, page 104. Okay, so did everybody do the homework already? So please, in the chat, tell me if you already did it or not. Okay, I think because actually I can't remember if I made it clear that I wanted you to do that last time, or if I said in the last class that we do it today. So this is my fault. I just can't remember what I said to you in the end of the last class. That's absolutely fine, class. I'll give you some time to do that in this class. So don't worry about that. Okay. So that's the first thing that we're going to look through. I'll give you some time to go through to look at exercise 5 so that we can talk about the language and the grammar of giving suggestions. And then you'll get a chance to practice giving some suggestions, firstly in the form of writing sentences in the chat. And then you will have a chance to do a little bit of practice in breakout rooms, about 5 minutes, then come back and we'll talk about that. And then this is the part that's going to take up the biggest chunk of our time today. I have in this presentation example homework pieces and written exam pieces from people in this class. And we will have a look at those writing pieces, and each breakout room will receive a writing piece. Now, I can't remember who wrote which piece, but the idea is that hopefully you won't get the piece of writing that's already your own. But even if it is your own piece of writing, you don't have to tell the other people in the group that it's yours. What you're going to be doing with these pieces of writing is you're going to be looking through them and giving feedback to each other, peer review feedback. And this feedback can be anything from spelling, grammar, punctuation, vocabulary, or it could be more related to like writing skills more generally, paragraph structure, order in which ideas are represented. It can be anything that you can imagine that an examiner might comment on. So it could be related to the criteria, and I can show you and give you the criteria again so that you remember what kind of comments you could be making. So as I said, it could be absolutely anything from language, grammar, punctuation, all the way to the actual assessment criteria itself. But you'll all be spending time discussing the piece as a group and then presenting that writing and your comments to the rest of the class. So that will be the biggest chunk of our class. Any time that's left will be devoted to practice, reading, and use of English Part 2. If we have time after that, then we'll look at Part 5. But it's likely that this will be homework. Now, Part 5 is a difficult one. This is the one where you have to rely on cohesion devices in order to figure out which sentence belongs in which part of which paragraph. And so I've noticed that this is a little bit of a difficulty for everybody. So I'd like you to have some practice with that. And even if it's homework, we will start next week by looking through it, going through the answers and talking about how you can find the answers. Part 2 is really difficult because you don't have any choices. You have to just try to figure out what word goes there. And it could be anything. It could be grammar, it could be a collocation, it could be a phrasal verb, a preposition. It could be anything. Okay, so let's start. So I just want to start by giving you a reminder of what it was we were doing in the last class. So please read the information here in the box. This was the context that you had. And if you remember from last time, you had a brief discussion about what you think the money should be spent on. And when I asked you this, you would have been using phrases for making suggestions and recommendations. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to look a little bit more closely at the language for making suggestions and recommendations. So this piece here, I know it doesn't look very good because I've It's just print screen, but it is in your book. So if you want, you can look at your own version in the book. And what page was this again? 105, I think. Yes, 105. Now, we already did the gap fill exercise together. So that's what we did in class last time. So we know what verbs should be in each gap. So look back to your notes from last week to see what verb should go in those gaps, because absolutely every single one of you got this correct. This was quite a nice and easy exercise for all of you. Okay. So this is an example response to the task that you just saw here in the box. So writing part 2, a report. So this is the context you just read. This is an example response from a candidate. So I want you to spend just a moment or two. I want you to read through the whole answer response from the student. You can read through the version in your book if you like. Okay, so you should have read through that by now. And hopefully you have the answers for the gap fill from last week. Because now we're going to look at exercise 5 together. Now, this example report that you saw here contains a lot of suggestions and recommendations. I'd like you to complete exercise 5 in your textbooks. Now, this is in order for you to see how we can form recommendations or suggestions. So when you complete exercise 5, I want you to try to observe what grammatical patterns you can see. Because how the form of the word that you use for your answer in each gap might change. And I want you to try to observe when it changes and why it might change. So have a look at the kind of sentence it's in, look at the word before it. So maybe like if it's a noun or if it's in past tense, or if some other situation, then the form of the word looks different. That's what I'd like you to pay attention to. So I want you to, first of all, just do that by yourselves for about 5 minutes. Okay, how's everyone getting on with task 5? I was hoping we could go through the answers now. Number 1. Oh, great, thank you very much. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, number 1, Wen-Yun, do you think you could read out the first one with the answer, please?
I recommend installing a new air conditioning system.
Good, good. Installing, excellent. Okay, so let's go through the answers first, and then we'll discuss any patterns. So if you didn't get the answer installing, so with ing at the end, then please make a note of that, because I want you to think about these grammatical patterns that we see here in the sentences. Okay, number 2, Pei, did you get this one?
I suggest spending money on improving the social program.
Good. I suggest spending. Good, exactly. Pei, could you pronounce this word here?
Suggest.
Okay, so in the past we talked about the sound, the pronunciation. So in English, when there's an unstressed syllable, we tend to say it very quickly. So it's like suggest, because we want to stress the second syllable. So instead of suggest, it's suggest. So it's almost like it's like you're just saying the letter suggest. Do you want to try that? So just suggest.
Suggest.
Much better. Good. Excellent, Pei. So that's it. We've talked about this in the past, but it's definitely worth bringing up again. So usually in English, if a word has more than one syllable, then the syllable that is not stressed is reduced to a kind of like an suggest. So I'll just put that symbol here that we looked at previously. That means the syllable that follows is stressed. Suggest. Good. Thank you very much, Peggy. Alaya, did you get the answer to number 3?
I suggest that the college should buy new furniture for the classroom.
Good. Should buy. Excellent. Okay, so we now see from number 3 that the form of the word is changing, isn't it? Because we had installing, we had spending, and now we've got buy. So really interesting. We don't know what's going on just yet, but we'll see soon. Core, can you tell us the answer to number 4, please?
It would be a good idea to equip all the classrooms with computers.
Good. And now this final one is to equip. So installing, spending, buy, and to equip. I mean, it's all the language for making recommendations and suggestions. So why were the forms of the words different? Would anyone like, because I don't want to pick on specific people, I would like you to volunteer, please. Would anyone like to try to explain? So why does number 1 and 2 have an ing form? So just look at number 1 and 2 now. Can anybody volunteer to explain to me why we have an ing form of the verb given? Oh, I'm going to be forced to pick one of you. Lai, do you think you know the reason why?
I'm not sure what's the reason.
Okay, so the clue for everybody is to look at the word that comes immediately before the gap. So what kind of word is this and this one? Kind of word are these?
A verb?
Good, exactly. So I suggest is a verb form. So the verb in the brackets must have an ing form. So I recommend installing. I suggest spending. Okay, very good, because we have a verb form here. Verb form. Okay, guys, so in the chat, could you please all make a recommendation or suggestion? So using either the word recommend or suggest, can you make your own recommendation or suggestion in the chat? So I want you to write a sentence using one of the verbs, meaning that the verb that you use next must be in the ing form. Just make a suggestion, a recommendation, what you think the school should spend its money on. Now just wait a few moments for you to write in the chat box. Hey, Elia. So because you've just joined us again, Elia, I've asked the class to make their own recommendation or suggestion in the chat box using this verb plus ing form. Okay, Pei, I like your example, but could you use a different verb than install? Because install's already here. So you could pick a different verb form, please. And the same with Shinro, if you could pick a different verb. I mean, I know it's difficult because we're talking about spending money, but it is possible. I just drank my water, but it tastes of perfume. I think I'm going to need to get new water in the break. Guanyan, I recommend all furniture. Okay, so there is something a little bit strange about your sentence, Guanyan. So I'm going to put it into the chat. Okay, so when you say you're going to replace old furniture with large amounts of money, that actually means that you're going to take the furniture away and you're going to put money there instead. So it's a bit too literal. So you need to say, I recommend replacing the old furniture using all the money, so the large amounts of money. So using. So I'll write a little correction for that. before, the old furniture, new furniture. Oh, sorry, Alaya, that's been sent directly to you instead. And I wanted to send it to everybody. There we go, so a little correction there. Oh, Wanjun, that's much better. Well done. So just looking at everybody else's. Karen replacing the new. Yeah, old furniture, new furniture, good. Okay, Anthony, could you try yours again, please? Because you haven't used the structure that we just looked at. So Anthony, you said, I recommend to taking, but there wasn't any to here. So this says, I recommend installing. So you need to delete to. And as well. So for this sentence, it would have to be, I recommend taking more money when you go traveling. So there were quite a few errors there in your one, Anthony. Okay, a really good effort, everybody. Oh, that's a nice one. I suggest putting more seeds into the soil. Okay, we wouldn't say it like that. So I'll put the sentence there and then a correction. Well, technically there's nothing grammatically wrong with your sentence, but we just wouldn't say it like this. So I suggest planting more seeds, and then we would say in the garden. And we would say garden because it's obvious that seeds go in soil. So we would just say like in the general area, so the garden. And we would need the verb planting. But the grammar you used was really good. Okay, thank you, everyone. Okay, so let's now move on to number 3, because number 3 is a separate case from number 4. We said that the answer was should buy new furniture for the classrooms. Why do you think the verb has changed? So it's no longer ing, it's just buy. What do you think has made this change? Anthony, do you think you know?
Teacher, can you repeat again?
Sorry, I forgot to unmute myself. Yeah, sure, Anthony. So we looked at why these verbs here gain ing, but for number 3, it's just buy. So why do you think there's no ing here? Why is it changed? Why has this verb changed its form now?
In my opinion, I think it's the word should.
Good, excellent. So should, would, could usually is followed by a verb form, not in the infinitive. So should, buy. Okay, can you all now please, so I'm now going to, so instead of writing, because you wrote the last one, I am going to ask some of you to give me an example of something you should do. Now, it can be related to the task, so something you think the school should do, but I don't mind if you just want to give me an example, a personal example. I just want you to practice making a recommendation or a suggestion. So, Core, can you tell me something that you either you should do or that you think the school should do?
I think the school should renovate the school so that students will feel more comfortable when they are studying in class.
Okay, good. Excellent. So but that was just, the only problem is you repeated school. So the school should renovate and then say a specific area, or change the whole thing. The school should spend the money on renovation, but that's totally different kind of construction. Okay, but good. Thank you, Cor. Okay, so Angela, can you tell me something that you think the school should spend the money on? What should the school do?
I think the school should buy some laptop for the classroom.
Some what, sorry?
Laptop.
Ah, it's okay. Just rather than laptops, plural. Good. They should buy some laptops for the school. Good, excellent. Or for the students. Good, good. Shinro, could you give me your suggestion, please?
I think that the school should organize more outdoor activities in order to let the students to be closer to the nature.
Good, excellent. Thank you very much. Okay. And Wanyun, do you have a suggestion?
I think that the school should improve the environment of the classrooms.
Good, very nice. And Peggy, can you give me your suggestion, please?
I suggest the college should plant some flowers in the classroom.
So find some flowers, or do you mean like buy some flowers for the classroom? Okay, good. Excellent. Okay, so I'm going to move on to number 4. We said that the answer was to equip. Okay, once again, it looks really different, doesn't it? So we had ing, then we had by, just by itself, but now we've got a verb with the in the infinitive form, to equip. So Peggy, do you know why the verb form is now changed to the infinitive? What has made it change?
It would be a good idea.
Yeah, but what about it? What specific thing about that means that what comes next has to change?
Good idea. So, teacher, can you repeat your questions?
Yes. Okay. So what about this? So what you have to say, like, what kind of grammar is this? What kind of words are these?
Now?
Yes. Good. It's a noun phrase. Idea. Good idea. To equip all the classrooms with computers. Excellent. All right, everybody. You know what I'm going to ask you now. I'm going to pick some of you to answer me, to give me your idea. Okay, so Alaya, could you give me your idea, please? So do try to use a different verb form. Sorry, just checking you're there. Alaya, you're there? Just remember, class, to keep your cameras on. So Core and Alaya. And well, if Angela's camera is working. Okay, we've lost Alaya. Okay, so Lai, do you mind? Would you mind sharing your idea, please? So remember that to put it in the right form.
It would be a good idea to organize more social activities to the students.
Okay, everything was good except you need for the students. For the students, good, excellent. Anthony, do you have an idea that you want to share?
I have no idea.
Okay, you can make anything up, even if it's ridiculous. Okay, even if you say that you think it's a good idea to have giraffes in the classroom, you know, you can say anything you like. I just
Giraffe?
yeah, giraffes, why not? I just want you to practice the grammar, that's all.
Oh, okay. It would be a good idea to I don't know.
I expect you to say something like to get fireworks in the classroom, you know, something. I expected you to be totally ridiculous with it. But, you know, I heard you saying the word to, so that was good. You're on the way to trying to get the form, the grammatical form correct. So you can say a good idea to, to have more technology in the classroom, to have more variety in activities, for example. You can just use your imagination. Oh, Alaya, could you share your idea, please, now that you've reconnected with us?
It would be a good idea if students can bring their own laptop to go to their school.
Okay, we need to use the grammatical form here. I mean, what you said is actually correct. A good idea if, and that was very advanced actually. And that does take us back to what we were looking at in a previous class. But right now, I just want everyone to practice using the infinitive after a noun phrase. So it would be a good idea to... So if you could say your idea again, but using the phrase, using the grammar we see here. So a good idea plus infinitive.
It would be a good idea to let students bring their own phone to school.
Good. See, I think it would be a good idea for Jeff to return to the class. He just keeps walking off. Okay, great work, everyone. It is a tough exercise. And I'm really glad that we got the chance to go through this together and do a lot of practice. Okay, so all this language that we looked at will be very useful for when it comes to you writing your own recommendations and suggestions. Now, I know that I asked you last time to do the writing as homework, but I don't expect that everybody has done that, or at least not yet, because you knew that we were going to continue looking at this week. So I won't be asking for the writing this week. So if you have already done it, please feel free to send it to me. But before you do spend that time going over your own language now that we've looked at some more specific grammatical structures for recommendations and suggestions. Okay, so if you have done the writing already, go over it, check if the grammatical forms you've used are correct. All right. So I'm going to change what I'm sharing. go back to the presentation. So we've done some writing, we've done some speaking. Okay, so we only actually have 10 minutes before the break. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and kind of explain to you what it is we'll be doing for the second part of our class. So for the second part of our class, I will be putting you in breakout rooms, and each breakout room will receive one piece of writing that has been written by somebody in this class. But each piece of writing is written by a different person. It's anonymous, so I haven't left anyone's name on. And actually, I can't actually remember who wrote which. So there's no point asking me whose piece of writing it is, because I don't actually remember. But they are examples of pieces of writing written by your classmates. If you see that the writing for your group is your own piece of writing, then you don't have to say, you don't have to tell the other person that. Just try to go over the language and any mistakes, and you're helping each other. And then of course, when we come back, you'll be presenting as a little group. So this is the piece of writing we got, and these are the following suggestions, recommendations that we have. So we think the writing should be more formal, or we think the writing should, needs more cohesive devices, or needs better punctuation. So you can use the language we were just looking at for recommendations and suggestions when you present the piece. Also, please do look at any language errors, make suggestions of how they could be improved. So it's not enough for you to just say, like, this sentence here is ungrammatical. It's not correct. If you do, then I will ask you, okay, so how can we word it? How can we reword it to make it better? And then after each writing piece, I will then fill in any feedback, anything you missed. And I will discuss how it can be made better to get a better grade. So it's quite an involved task you guys have. And you'll each get approximately 15 minutes to read through the piece. If you want to go through it individually at first and then discuss together, then that's absolutely fine. And then each person in each group should take a turn at saying something about the text. Okay. So you should aim to try to tell the class 2 strengths of the writing piece and 1 weakness. Now, I realized I didn't actually include the writing criteria. So if you just give me a second to get that for you. Okay, so I've got that. And we just scroll down to the correct page. Okay. I'll share with you the Cambridge FCE writing criteria. And we have looked at this once before. And of course, you don't have to give it a grade at all. But I thought it would be useful to just remind you of what kind of things the examiner is looking for. So is the content relevant to the task? So if the task asks about sports, you shouldn't then go on to talk about your favorite music. That's not really relevant. do you think the target reader is fully informed? Okay, this one is a little bit difficult to understand if you're not used to the marking criteria, but this essentially means, does it follow the conventions of the task? So if it's a letter, an informal letter to a friend, you would expect informal language. Unfortunately, though, the titles of the questions aren't included in the writing pieces that I'm going to give to you. However, you should be able to remember generally what they were, because they are homework and exam pieces that all of you have received in the past. There's a little note here on organization. Cohesive devices, organization of patterns, so order of ideas and paragraphs. If you want to make a comment on that, that's fine. And of course, language. Oh, class, I'm so sorry. I just have to answer the door. A second. Okay, so sorry about that, class. But hopefully that did give you enough time to be able to read through some of the assessment criteria here. But you don't have to go too in depth at all with regards to the assessment criteria, you know, when you're giving your feedback about the pieces of writing. So don't worry too much about this. This is just a general, to give you ideas of what else you could comment on when you're giving feedback. Okay, class, so let's take our usual 10-minute break. And after 10-minute break, I will assign you to breakout rooms and give you your piece of writing to study. See you back here in 10 minutes time. And Kat says hello. Okay, hey everyone. Lai, I like your new picture. Sorry, that's just my son in the background shouting. Okay, hey Vanyan. If anyone else is back, could you let me know by switching your camera on? Hey Angela, good to see that your camera's working. Great, thank you, Sonora. Welcome back. Great. Right, okay. So you all know what it is we're going to do next. So I'll show you very briefly the different pieces of writing. So these are the specific instructions. So you'll each get a piece of writing in your breakout room. So there are, I think, 4 pieces of writing. Yes, 4 pieces of writing. Each breakout room will have a different piece of writing that you have to look over and review. And I've put a little notation for who is doing which one, just in case you forget. I will give you the presentation so that you can have the piece of writing. So don't worry about like taking a picture of it or trying to write it all down. So breakout room 1, this will be the text that you look at. Breakout room 2, here's yours. Breakout room 3, and finally breakout room 4. Okay, so remember that you can first of all spend the first few minutes looking through it yourself. You could, if you wanted to, spend as much as 5 minutes. Hang on 1 minute. Sorry, class, my son has a singing rocking horse that's singing right now. Okay, so spend the first few minutes, please go through each writing piece, underlining any mistakes at all, and then discuss it with your classmates, and then prepare to present it. Every person in each breakout room should have a turn at saying something about their piece of writing. Okay, so firstly, I'm going to share the presentation with you. Okay, so I've put that into the chat box for everybody. So please check the chat box and make sure that you download this presentation, because the piece of writing is there and you will not be able to do this exercise without downloading the presentation. So I'll give you all a minute to make sure you've clicked and downloaded that, and I'll arrange the breakout rooms while you do that. Okay, so does everybody have the presentation? Have you clicked on it and downloaded it? If you could just nod your heads in the camera. Good, excellent. So I'm going to put you in your breakout rooms now. You have 15 minutes, okay? Good luck, and I look forward to hearing you present these pieces of writing. Oh, my son is making faces at everybody. Okay, see you in 15 minutes time, class. Good luck. Hey, Anthony, are you okay? Okay, hey everybody. So I started the recording again. I didn't think it made sense to continue recording while you were having your 15-minute discussion in a breakout room. Okay, everybody. So hopefully we will enjoy this exercise, a little bit more project-based. And I'm looking forward to your little presentations. So breakout room 1, I think it makes sense to go with you guys first. So that was Angela, Jeff, and Lai, and I'll share your piece for you. Not this one, breakout room 1. Okay, yeah, so I don't know how you've organized, how you want to talk about this, but Angela, Jeff, and Lai, could you all say at least something about this piece, and then we'll go through it as a whole class. Okay, so when you're ready, breakout room 1.
So I think that the person who write this essay, I think he or she has a great using of grammar, and I think his or she idea is very detailed and clear. And I think he or she also elaborates the sentence.
Thank you so much, Lai. They were really good comments. So does anybody else in your group have something to say about this piece? Jeff, is there anything you would like to say? So I didn't hear you, Jeff, but I need you to say something about this piece.
Nothing to say.
So did you think it was a good piece? Did you think it was a bad piece of writing? Okay, and why did you think it was good? Sorry, Jeff, I can't understand.
No, I just thought that it was good because
It's so difficult to understand what you're saying on your microphone. Could you please try to get your microphone fixed, Jeff? Because you really need to speak, like practice speaking in the class and get feedback. Thank you, Jeff. So Angela, is there anything that you would like to say about this piece?
I think the essay is good, but if he or she can add more difficult words to expand the ideas, will let the essay more better.
Okay, and Lai, Angela, would you like to show us any errors that you found at all? Because that is something I want us to do, is to go through any errors and corrections together as a class. So if you see any, what you can do is you can click annotate, or you can tell me where they are and I can draw under for you.
I don't think there's no many big mistakes.
There aren't many, that's true. It's quite a good piece, but there are a few very strong errors though, just not many of them. Oh, yes, my pen works. If you want to underline where you think they are. So Lai and Angela, did you spot the grammatical errors, or did you not spot them? I mean, it's okay if you didn't spot them, just let me know.
I think no.
Okay. And Lai, did you spot any grammatical errors?
But I don't think that I could find.
Okay, yeah, don't worry, that's absolutely fine. It's part of the purpose of what we're doing today, is going through this together as a whole class. Oops, come back. Okay, parents are out for a dinner with my aunts. That's okay. Normally we would just say dinner. I mean, it's okay to say but normally we wouldn't. So I'll put the X above it rather than through it. In the house, after now, I was ready. What does this mean? To hit the sack. Lai, Angela, Jeff, do any of you know what this expression means?
Go to sleep.
Yeah, I'm going to think, well, specifically go to bed, but yeah, go to sleep in your bed. Exactly, to hit the sack. Yeah, it's a great phrase. I smiled when I saw that. It's a really good phrase. Okay, so do you think this is a formal phrase, or do you think this is informal? So this is addressed to anybody in the class who wants to answer. But Angela, I see you've got your... Yes, informal. Good. Just put inf there. Okay. Okay. This is ungrammatical. Okay. So how about went? That doesn't make sense. Can anybody at all give a suggestion of how it should be said instead? There are many different ways you could word this. So if any of you want to type an alternative wording into the chat box, and you make sure you set it to everybody so that everybody can see your response. How else could this be worded, class? This doesn't make any sense. So as I was about went into my dream. So we can start with as I was, but we can't say about went. That does not make any sense. Any suggestions in the chat, anybody? Well, interesting. Okay, so some interesting suggestions here. So as I was about to enter my dream, that's grammatical. However, it's a bit weird to say it like that. So Core, your answer was grammatical, but we wouldn't normally say it. As I was about to sleep, that's fine. Yeah, it's absolutely fine. About to sleep. Or we could say as I was about to fall asleep, or as I was falling asleep. As I was falling asleep is the most likely way we would word this. As I was falling asleep, okay. I'm getting the, yes, it's still on drawing. And there really are only, I think, a couple or a few grammatical errors. It was very, very good piece. So I'm sure that was not my parents. Specifically. I mean, this is grammatical, technically, but we need another way. We need another way to word it would be better. So can somebody tell me what's wrong with this? So I was sure that it was not my parents who make the noise. What's wrong with that? Okay, so I'm going to start asking specific people. Core, do you think you know what's wrong with the verb make here?
It should be past tense.
Good, made. Good. I was sure that it was not my parents who made the noise, as, now I'm going to give you the next one, as they will not be back until after 10 p.m. So I've given you the correction there. Again. Okay. There's something missing in this sentence. Wrapped myself with cozy blanket. Pei, do you think you know what's missing in the sentence?
With a cozy blanket.
Oh, what was the missing piece? Sorry?
At a.
Yeah, with a cozy blanket. Good. Okay, let me. Shinra, do you think you know what's wrong here?
The verb need to change the past tense.
Past tense, because past tense was established here, so you need to be consistent. Exactly. Then opened my, okay, bedroom door. Bedroom door. Let's get rid of appeared here. I jumped as I heard the noise in the study room and I nearly. What is wrong with this one? Lai, do you think you can tell me what's wrong with this verb here? Fell off. Good one, Yun. Exactly. It should be past tense. Fell. But it's not fell off, though. So that's the next part. It's not fell off because you don't fall off the stairs. You fall. Anybody else know the correct phrasal verb? It's not fall off the stairs. It's fall.
Fall down.
Down. Good. Precisely. Well done. So fell, oh, not feel, fell down the stairs. Great work. Excellent. Okay, you don't need a possessive here. The books fall on the table one by one. Laughing in relief. I love this, laughing in relief. I love that. I'm going to put a little tick there. Okay. This one is a really good one for helping you to prepare for reading and use of English part 5. Can anybody tell me what's wrong with this? Well, it's repeated here. Why is it not right here? Aha, good, excellent. Core, can you explain that, please? What?
Because the writer mentioned books, so it should be in plural, so that arrange them nicely.
Good, exactly. And this is related to what we talked about, cohesion. So in reading Use of English Part 5, which I'll be giving you to look at for homework, if we get that far, a key way to succeed is to be more familiar with cohesive devices. So this pronoun, it, has to refer back to something that was already said. So the subject or the object of the sentence. But in this sentence, the object is books and it's in the plural. So that means there's an issue with cohesion because the pronoun doesn't refer back to, the grammar doesn't match. So if you say it, it means we're looking back for this it and we can't find it. So maybe if you said, I picked up the books and, I don't know, maybe if you said pen, okay, let's pretend it says, I picked up the books and the pen and arranged it nicely. That would make a little bit more sense because we presume the it refers back to pen because it's singular. But that's not the case here. Books is in the plural, so we need them. Good, exactly. So that is part of what we mean when we say cohesion, to make sure that it all makes sense. The pronouns need to refer back to the correct things and they need to have the correct grammar. And that is a key way of helping you in reading and use of English Part 5, as well as being more aware of how pronouns and other such devices can create smooth cohesion. Okay, great work, everyone. And that's it. So this is a really good piece. I really enjoyed reading this. Okay, breakout room 2. So you were Anthony, Wanyan, and Pei.
I think this essay is quite good, but there's some grammar mistakes, such as in the paragraph 3, it say because they often saw, so it should change to because they often see.
Good. Yes, I agree with that.
We also think that this piece of writing or essay is clear and smooth.
Did you say clear and small?
Smooth.
Oh, smooth. Okay, good. Yes, it is. I agree with that. It's very clear. It's very smooth.
However, there is repetition of words.
Okay, so what words do you think are repeated? Do you have an example?
However, in the first paragraph and the second paragraph, there is a however in there.
Now, that's not too bad because there is a little bit of space, but you are right. You would be able to get higher marks if you did show variety in your use of linking, signposting. So we call this linking, we call this signposting. There are so many different words to refer to this kind of language. Yeah, you're right. You would get better marks if you did show some variety. Good, well spotted. Okay, any other comments you want to make about this piece? So anything from Anthony at all?
Actually, they already say most of this essay. So I think this essay is quite good, and she or he used the past tense very well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I just want to go through. And so as I promised you all that we would have a whole class and feedback from me as well. So, okay, the first thing I want to say is this is a very weird word. Now, I totally get that the person who wrote this was trying to show off their vocabulary. I totally get that, and I appreciate that 100%. However, thrice is a very weird word. It's an old word. We don't really use it. It just sounds very weird using it. So just say, like, how else can we say this? Like, for instance, Anthony, do you have a suggestion of how else this could be said instead of thrice a week?
In my opinion, I think it possible will be three times a week.
Perfect, exactly, 3 times a week. Okay. Also, this doesn't really make much sense. Grammatically, it's fine. But can anybody explain to me why I've underlined this then? So due to my swimming. So it was compulsory to swim 3 times a week due to my swimming class. What? Can anybody tell me how we could change it or what the issue is here. It's not a grammatical thing. It's just, anyone explain why I've underlined it? Who else is in your group? Peggy, do you think you know why I've underlined this?
Maybe it can change to due to the swimming course.
Well, it's not quite. That's not the reason I've underlined it, because it's not a grammatical mistake. The grammar is actually fine. But there is another problem here. And it will lead me to giving all of you a tip about writing. So if I asked you all, why was it compulsory for this person to swim 3 times a week? Could you answer that question based on the information here?
Maybe the swimming class is forcing the swimmers to go to swim 3 times a week.
Now you're getting closer to my point. Exactly, Anthony. Basically, this due to should introduce a reason, and this isn't enough of a reason. We can only infer. It's only implied what the reason is. It's not stated explicitly. So, like what Anthony has said, so let's say it was compulsory to swim 3 times a week due to or because those were the rules. My swimming instructor, so those because those were the rules according to the teacher or set by the swimming instructor. It's a very weird kind of sentence, though. I would have just left it as, I think it should have just been left as, it was compulsory to swim 3 times a week. I don't really think it needs this at all, actually. It would just be fine like this because we assume, like, okay, it must have been the instructor. Okay. I found that really enjoys that. Okay. We don't need that here because you already have so. So I could not attend the class every time. Fine. Every age of people. That's a very weird wording. Can somebody suggest to me how we could reword this? So Alaya, do you think you have an idea of how this could be reworded?
Maybe people in all age.
Almost. It's a very specific phrase in English. I'll put it in the chat for everybody. Not people in every age. People of, Anthony, yeah?
Teacher, can it be most age of people?
Well, that wouldn't convey the same meaning because most doesn't mean all or every. So that wouldn't be the same meaning. So I put it in the chat box. So people of all ages is how we would say that in English. So. Swim. Yeah, so it is. I would say it's not harmful. It's not harmful to children or the elderly. So I'll correct some small mistakes and some of them I will ask like all of you. Not safe. Not safe. Can anyone give me another word? Because I don't think that makes sense to say safe here. Shinra, do you think you have an idea?
I think it could be, it is better.
Good, good. It is better or it is best? Better or best? Either would fit here. So it is better to find a coach or it is best to find a coach? Good. Yep, this piece is generally really good, I think. Yeah, we've got this one already. Oh, Anthony, I'm so sad that you've got to leave because one of the writing pieces is yours. I won't say which one. One of them is yours. Please don't go, Anthony. Okay, but Anthony, you can look at the recording, okay? I'm so sad. Yeah, I'm always so sad that you have to leave early. Okay, okay. But enjoy your other tuition and watch the videos. Okay, so which group was Anthony in? I think that was 2, wasn't it? Okay, anyway. So if we're trying, okay, so I just want to read this again, sorry, although some people think it's fraud. This is lovely, a really nice piece of writing. I mean, so is the first one as well, very nice piece of writing. I think that a lot of you have come a long way in terms of your writing, because I won't say, because I do actually remember who wrote this, and I remember who wrote this one as well. And in my opinion, these 2 people have improved a lot compared to previous writings that they've submitted. Okay, so the next one, room 3. Who was in room 3 except for Nicholas? Was it? I thought it couldn't have been just Anthony. I'm sure there was somebody else in that room.
Me, teacher.
Oh, great. Okay, wonderful. So did anybody else in your breakout room speak, or was it just you by yourself?
Just do by yourself.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Alaya. I'm so sorry. I just Nicholas's microphone camera just never seemed to be working. Okay, but I trust that you've done a good job though. Okay. And it's quite a long piece actually, isn't it? But if you'd like to take us through, please, Alaya.
Yeah, I think this writing is a lack of organization and linking device. I would recommend this writing need to add a word link as an addition example because I cannot see any linkings right here. And the strength of this writing is that the idea is good and the meaning can still be determined.
Good, good. That was a very nice analysis, Alaya. Very good. Okay, so what kind of linking devices would you suggest and where?
Maybe he or she can add furthermore to express more her feeling.
So furthermore, I'm just going to write that in the chat. Yeah, very nice. And where do you think that they could put that? And also, if you want to underline any mistakes that you could see, feel free to use the annotation features. So because you were alone in your breakout room, I will help you pick out some, Alaya.
I think, personally, I think this sentence is a bit weird for me, which is in the paragraph 3. For me, a day without music is a day wasted.
Oh, that's quite a nice sentence, actually. Yeah, that is the sort of thing we would say, actually. Okay. No, but that's it's good for you to pick this out, though. For me, a day without music is a day wasted. that is it's definitely a strong opinion, but like grammatically and in terms of whether it's something we would actually say, absolutely. It's a very typical sort of thing. So a day without something is a day wasted. It's a good phrase.
Okay.
Oh, little tick there. So anyone tell me why they think I may have underlined this first part? Is definitely a difficult one, but it's just a very weird tense has been used. Okay. Okay, so a couple of suggestions here that I can see in the chat, and let me think about it for a moment. So music, I would agree with Shinro's comment. Music plays. There are two ways you can two tenses you could possibly use here for it to make sense. Music plays. Oh, my chat keeps automatically selecting to send specific people. Music plays, or music has played. Both would be okay, because present tense, you want to focus on present tense and more generally. Music has played, you know, when we use this tense, so the present perfect, it talks about something that happened in the past but is still occurring or happening or having effect now. So both in this context would be fine. So either music plays a very important role in my life, or music has played an important role in my life. Either would be fine. So I really like the passion in this essay. It's very clear about how much this person loves music. Would you agree, Alaya?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you notice any other like mistakes or anything else that you want to underline or comment on? I'm trying to look at that more closely. Music is not only human made. Yeah, I get what the person is trying to say here. And it's quite difficult to try to think of how else to word this. We could say instead, because it is very difficult, I'm going to give you a suggestion for this. So, although music is primarily, well, another word, mostly, or usually, say mostly, mostly made by humans, music can be found, maybe? Yeah, it can be found. So music can be heard or found in nature. So this is a very complex idea that this person has tried to convey. Okay, Lai, thank you very much. So you've presented and we've looked at one of your pieces. So that's okay. Lai, take care, okay? So this idea here is very complex, actually, and I'm very impressed with the attempt to convey this complex idea. It's just I mean, actually, as an examiner, I would read this and I would say, okay, I totally get what this person is trying to convey, but it's just not how we would say it. mean, it's not even ungrammatical. It's just not how we would say it. Okay, so anything else? Anything else, Alaya, at all? What about the punctuation here? Because you have a comma here, swishing, and this and. We needed the before slow. Now, also because Alaya was alone in her room, I'd like to invite everybody in the class generally to read through this and to underline anything they think is incorrect. Okay, I've underlined a few in the next paragraph. As a class, could you begin like making suggestions or explanations? So this first one here, what's the issue with this one? I usually listen to upbeat musics. What do we need to change here? Okay, Wan Yun, do you think that you can tell us what needs to be changed here?
Teacher, can it be rhythm? Rhythm?
So if you can tell me what's wrong with them. So I usually listen to upbeat musics. What's wrong with musics?
The S.
Good, it should be music because music is not a counter noun. Good, excellent. Now this next one is really difficult. So the person has attempted to use a very specific phrase in English, kickstart. The only issue is that it's the wrong preposition. Does anybody think that they know what the preposition is? So it's a very good kickstart of my day. Does anyone know what the preposition could be instead? Any guesses? It's not in, okay? So it's not of, it's not in. I'm sure by now you all probably hate English prepositions so much. Okay, this one is to. So it's a very good kickstart to my day. Okay, now I use, homework. So this whole sentence has a couple of errors here. So I use to listen to reading musics. Okay, first of all, I'm not sure what they're trying to say. Second of all, I'm not sure if they mean usually or used to. I'm not sure. So I can't actually tell you exactly what the correct answer is for this because I don't know exactly what the person was trying to say. I think what they're trying to say is that they usually listen to music while reading, maybe. but I'm not sure. I'm sorry, class, I can't correct this because I don't know what the person was originally trying to say. So I wouldn't want to correct it without knowing their original idea. So this remains a mystery. And what about this one here, class? Why have I underlined that word? Music makes me feel more focus. Okay. Any suggestions? So this should be focused. So it makes me feel more focused. ED. Now, in contrast, it's quite ironic actually, because here the correction is that it needs ED, but here I've corrected this because it doesn't need ED, despite being an adjective. So it makes me feel calm. It should just be calm. And this one, I believe, says chills me down, but there's no such expression as chills me down. That doesn't exist. There's calms me down. It calms me down, or it makes me feel chilled, or more chilled. Chilled. Or better phrase would be music helps me to chill out. And that just means to relax. Okay, is there anything else you want to comment on at all, Alaya? I know there's a lot to go through in this because it's a very big piece of writing. Maybe I should have chosen a smaller one. Okay, I've underlined this one. So I'll underline them. And as I underline them, could you please write in the chat box what you think the correction is? Okay. Okay, it's missing something. So I started to learn how to play. Good. Okay, this is the correction. How to play the piano. Now, this one is very hard to get. So here, there's a transition from past tense to present tense, but there isn't a clear adverb to show this. And this is why I've underlined the bit here with and. So, and now. So, and now. The word now would have been a very good transition to show a clear transition from past to present. Because you have to imagine how your reader feels. The reader will be very disorientated if you are in past tense and you suddenly start talking about present. Okay, we would just say piano or keyboards, but not both. So person who wrote this, you just have to pick one. Oops. What's wrong with this one here? It's very simple reason. Can anybody, Angela, do you think you could tell me why I've underlined this phrase here? Angela? Don't know if you heard me, Angela.
Yes.
Okay, so why do you think I've underlined this one here at the beginning of the last paragraph? So music has just been a lifesaver for my life.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, it's just repetitive. You just need to say it's been a lifesaver. That's it. Okay, and this final one should say to listen to. Okay, thank you everybody for bearing with me on this. But I think it's a good exercise for all of us to see because we can learn a lot of corrections here. Okay, and the final group, I'm sorry it took so long. That last piece was very long. And so Core and Sunil, could you please talk us through this final piece?
Yes, I'll start first. So I will mainly talk about the good side of this writing, and Carl will explain the errors in this writing.
Okay.
So I think this essay is mainly based on music. The title is mainly based on music, and the whole essay is related to the title too. So there are some good use of vocabulary in the essays, and it also gives a lot of example and describe the writer's personal feelings on listening to music. But I think this essay is not good organized because the paragraphing has some problem, which is the first and the last paragraph is a bit too short compared to the second and the third paragraph. And then there's just a few linking word in the essay. So I think it could add more linking word into the essay. Yeah, so Colin.
Okay.
So I continue, right? And just now, I think she said about some mistakes already, but I think that the essay has some grammar mistakes, and just like she said, some problem with the paragraphing, and because some paragraphs are very long and some are too short, and then I think some of the examples are a little bit not logic, and yeah, that's all.
Sorry, I forgot to unmute myself. So you said not logic, so it's illogical or not logical. So you could say either one of those words. Okay, yeah, good. So I'm going to underline a few things, and then the two of you can tell me why I've underlined them. I see that there's an already an underlining here. Yeah. Yeah, I think that a lot of this doesn't make much sense. Like some ideas. Good, so no, good Core, excellent. Exactly. Okay, now we have reached the end of our class today because quite a few of you are not able to say, because a few of you have said that you've got other tuition to go to. So let's leave it at half an hour on this occasion. So what I will say to you, I want to give you a little homework task, or two homework tasks. The first homework task is for everybody to have a look at this final piece, okay? And all of these underlined things and any more that you spot, I would like you to try to rewrite this essay correctly, okay? Now, I know that you may not, some of the ideas don't make much sense. So it makes humans and plants feel comfortable. That's a bit weird. Don't really know what the person means by that, but you can try your best to say what you think the person means by this. So how best do you think to word and be grammatical this essay and improve organization? But I do want to comment on something that Shino said. Now, generally, okay, generally speaking, the introduction and the conclusion are the shortest paragraphs, just generally in writing. However, yeah, I agree that it could have been a bit longer, but it's not too much of a big deal. But I do actually think that the main body paragraphs are too short. And I think that there should be a third main body paragraph as well. Okay, so what else? So something I touched upon earlier, very briefly, is this idea that for every point that you make, you need explanation. Explanation or justification or an example. Every point you make should be expanded upon, is basically what I'm saying. And at the end of your paragraphs, it should be clear, you know, how this is relevant to answering the question as well, to show constant focus. And also, your paragraph should have topic sentences. And what I was just talking about is called paragraph concluding sentences. Okay, so I'm actually going to give you an option as to how you want to approach this homework. Either you can try to rewrite this answer, or you can simply give a list, okay? A list of all the errors, grammatical, vocabulary, whatever else, and then right next to those errors, your correction. So it's up to you how you want to do that. I don't mind either way. And shall we save the readings for next week, class? Or would you like to try to do number 2 for homework? I mean, you have the presentation, it's there, so it's up to you if you want to do this ahead of next week. If you don't do it ahead of next week, then now we'll give you time to do it at the beginning of the next class. But you know what's coming up next is English Part 2 and Reading and Use of English Part 2 and Reading and Use of English Part 5. And you can see here what grammar we're going to look at next week as well. Okay, any questions at all, class? Okay, thank you for your lovely presentations. And these first 2 were really good essays. They're really good. Oh, sorry, and number 3 as well, of course. Number 3 was very good. It's number 4 that needs a lot of improving. So hopefully, like, Anthony sees this as well and Lai, so that they know what the homework is. So if you do have a class WeChat group, then just let them know. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. If you do have any questions you want to ask, please feel free to do so. Okay, if there are no questions, then I will see you next week. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you,
Thank you,
teacher.
teacher.
Thank you, teacher.
谢谢。